Harry Baloney is the most overrated franchise of all time. There are 7 books and 11 to 12 movies. There's Harry Pungus number 1, Harry Dingus number 2, Harry Dingus 3, Harry Dingus 4, Harry Fringus 5, Harry Bringus 6, Harry Bungus 7 Part 1, and then Harry Lungus Bungus Part 2. There's also the Fantastic Beasts movies. Harry Bringus is about this little boy named Harry Bungus, who is the boy who lived. He gets sent to this wizard school by Hagrid and meets Dumbledore and Ron and Hermaphrodite, Hermione. He has friends, and then they solve some Scooby-Doo-like mystery around the school, knowing that there's some suspicious thing going on. And this isn't Harry Bungus 1. When Harry Bungus has to go and figure out who this character, who I cannot speak his name, I refuse to speak his name. If I speak his name, he's gonna come to me at night late, so I'm just gonna call him the V word. So I'm gonna call him Mr. V. Yeah, that's what he's gonna be called. Mr. V is the secret antagonist of the series who secretly wants to corrupt and kill Harry Bungus with his evil plan of. You'll find out in the other Harry Pothead films, but Harry Bungus is gonna begin his big epic journey by beating through the first movie because it's the most origin-like movie ever made. It's kind of like the hero's journey. In fact, Harry Bum is basically a hero's journey. It's like inspired by the Joseph Gordon-Levitt mythology. I know because I went to college and took mythology class. Harry Bum is now gonna begin his epic journey of being the chosen one because he has a scar on his forehead. And then he begins his coming of age life situation where he has an anime rival named Malfoy, and then he has some other side characters that gets way better introduced in the other films, like the greatest character of all time, Neville. I grew up with this movie as a kid because I remember my dad reading me the Harry Potter books when I was a little kid. I thought it was a very good bedtime story. I got the Lego sets, I got the sticker books, I played the video games. I was one of those kids that basically knew a lot about Harry Potter because of the hype it was during that time. Harry Bingus and the Chamber of Secrets is the worst one in the series because it's just so boring and it seems very like tiki rehash of the first film. This is by the same guy, Christopher Columbus, and this makes sense because Christopher Columbus does a very interesting thing with these franchises. With Home Alone and Harry Bum, they basically are kind of similar movies where in the second one of these franchises, they're basically similar rehashes of the previous films. It's just the same stories, same beats. And we get introduced to Mr. V as a teenager and all this other mystery stuff. Harry gets a girlfriend named Jenny. I decided to play the video game back on the PlayStation 2 because it was one of the first video games I ever got on that system. That's basically the plot I'm getting from the video games I played as a kid. So this one is really not that good. Go play Harry Bum in the Chamber of Dingus on the PlayStation 2. Now we're getting to the third one, Harry Piranha Plant number 3, best one in the franchise. They got one of my favorite filmmakers of all time who directed some of my favorite movies to make this one. He blew it out of the way. It's the reason why it's the best. He basically set the tone of what Harry Potter should be by specializing use of visual effect techniques that were innovative at its time. This came out right around when Shrek 2 was big, so these two franchises were going somewhere. I think I've seen this one more than any of the other Harry Bungus films, which is why I get kind of sick and tired of seeing it on TV. It just is like the same rewatch situation that you get from these films. That's what I have a problem with. It's just the rewatching is just so bearable at times. I mean, people watch this during Christmas season and I can kind of get it because there's some Christmas references, but I'm telling you, these films just go in a direction that just make it quite interesting from here on out. So we're getting to the fourth one, Harry Brombombus number 4, the first one with a PG-13 rating because they say the F word once. So Harry Bum number 4 is the Goblet of Fire, and it's the one where a lot of things start to get on the stake side because we get introduced to Mr. V in human form. Harry ends up becoming like Shinji from Evangelion from this forward out, where he's like a broken person. He kind of was, but this one really damaged him. And they kill off Robert Pattinson in this movie. Isn't that like a sin if you think about it? But this is like one of his early roles before Twilight and Batman and The Boy and the Heron. Harry Balloon 5. The one I remember seeing in theaters with my grandma back in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. And this one, I just didn't really get into that much. It might be one of the worst ones in the series. I know a lot of people like this one, but for me, it really didn't really hit me that much. I mean, there were some cool elements that happened here and there. There was this love interest introduced in the fourth Harry Brungus film, where Harry Bombom basically has to go fall in love with this one character to go to the dance with. This former love interest ends up backstabbing Harry Pringles and his friends for exposing the fact that Harry Pringle was teaching students their own magic school because the Against the Dark Arts teacher was a fucking bitch. He decided to go in his own roguelike direction, and it's kind of cool stuff. I like this stuff. But then there are some like slow ass pace moments that drag on. Each of these films are over 2 hours long. Find a Harry Binky film where the runtime is 1 hour and 30. You're not gonna get this in this series. I'm sorry, you're not. After this one, Harry Binky decided to go back to the PG rating with the 6th franchise, the Half-Blood Prince of Egypt. With this one, yeah, didn't really like it that much. I'm sorry. It was very slow and boring. There were some moments where Ron John Silver had to get some highlighted moments where Ron John had to become a Quidditch player. It was trying to reflect on the whole lacrosse hype at that time. There were like 2 moments I liked. I liked the part where Harry and Dumbledore decided to go and team up and fight a bunch of dead zombies in a mysterious cave. And then the other moment I liked was, spoiler alert, Professor Snake basically killed Dumbledingus, and he was the Half-Blood Prince of Egypt. I like that moment. I think those moments really made the film stand out, and it really raised the stake once again that we should have got from Harry Bronchitis 4. Harry Binky 6 is still not that great. I'm sorry. Next film, Harry Pringles 7, Part 1 of the finale of the franchise is when it gets really good. I actually like Part 1. I know a lot of people didn't like it when it first came out, but Part 1 I really enjoyed. So you're getting 2 different parts that were going to be released 7 months separate from each other. And I remember really getting emotional at the ending when they kill my boy Dobby. Dobby was introduced in Harry Pringles 2 as this really snappy little goblin little dude, and then in this one he ends up trying to save Harry Bronchitis and his friends in the end. I really like this one because they're not at the school. They don't go to school. They're ditching school. Isn't that badass or what? And it's basically 3 students camping out in the middle of the woods, and there's some drama, there's some action, there's some backstabbing, betrayal. There's all these massively emotional moments you get into the woods that is not in a school, because if you're in a school, it'll just be weird as fuck. Mr. B got the Elden Ring wand and became the most powerful wizard in the universe. Harry Bringus 7 Part 2, the ultimate finale, the one that people were hyped about when it was coming out. When I saw this one in theaters, man, it was so good. I immediately wanted to see it again a week after. It was the first time where rewatching these was worth it. Everyone went to see it in theaters. It killed hand-drawn animation with the Winnie the Pooh movie. This film was the reason why Disney decided to not release hand-drawn animated films anymore, and everything is just CGI shit. I really love this grand finale. This was such like an epic finale where Mr. B and Harry Ringus decided to duke it out with their wands, and they beat the crap out of each other. It was so badass, and they were in the school again. All these characters you know throughout the franchise that I forgot to mention end up crossing over with each other. It was like Avengers Endgame kind of hype. There was death, betrayal. There was so much emotional moments that just made it one of the best in the franchise. Let me count the Pringles and see how many we got here. Here is my ranking of these series. Other than that, the Fantastic Beasts films, I've only seen the first one. Don't give a shit. It's fucking bad. And I've never seen the other 2 because I don't really give a shit. And if you're wondering if I played the Wizarding World of Harry Bungus video game on the PlayStation 5 or the PC or Xbone, I'm not, because it's a lot of money and it's not worth my time. I understand why people love this franchise, how they were inspired by this franchise growing up as a kid. There's a whole massive fan base behind this, and plus an amusement park ride. There's going to be a new TV series on Max that is going to come out soon that is going to be more faithful to the books than the movies were, because I feel like there was more interesting stuff going on with the books than the movies. There was more detail and content, and so I could see why people criticize some of these movies. I just really don't like J.K. Rowling. Alright, I'm done. Thank you for watching this video and subscribe for more. Bye!